right. I'm just gonna. This is a little intro to before we get on the Good Morning Britain clip that I'm gonna go ahead and run after this. Hopefully, I can do a fair use thing. I'm gonna put a little fair use thing on there so that I can actually use this. Basically, Piers Morgan was talking to one of the Trump protesters, and one of the Trump protesters, I think she was on as far as immigration, so she's protesting out there in England, in the UK or whatever, and he asked her a simple question that she could not give an answer to. He asked her, how many people did Barack Obama deport over his 8 years? She could not tell him. She could not tell him anything bad about Barack Obama or any facts or whatever about Barack Obama. She's just so stuck on Trump. She has the Trump derangement syndrome. For these people, the media, mainstream media, and anybody has told these people that Trump is that person that they were running from in the Blair Witch Project, that they were whatever it was, that he's the person that is behind that when you go in a movie, in one of the movies, when you go into the basement and inspect the sound you heard, which you probably shouldn't have done anyway, he's that person or whatever that is that jumps out at you. He's the person that when you're walking down that alley, dark alley, and you hear the steps behind you, that's him. That's Donald Trump. They have made this man into a freaking boogeyman. He is the person behind every bad decision you make, and the consequences that you have to for your own bad decisions. He's the consequences. He's the consequences for your own bad decisions. When you end up with, well, let's just say you go sleep with a prostitute, you end up with AIDS. It's Donald Trump's fault. You know, something like that. So you've got to check out this video. It is so funny. It gets to the point where the white woman on the panel, she has to try to cape up and try to help this young lady, because he made this young lady look so bad. And the young lady gets so just frustrated to the point she's just, every time I come on here, Piers, is what you gotta watch this. Anyway, comment, like, share, subscribe, and all that, and it's just absolutely amazing what you see in the mind of the Trump protester.
Are we not in a country where we have a president of another democracy who, you know, can face up to protests? It's all part of our rights.
Oh, look, you absolutely have a right to protest, but here's the big problem that I've got. Look, you know, we've had President Xi of China, we've even had Robert Mugabe come and visit London. Every tin pot dictator, every nutter, everybody who abuses human rights, everybody who runs their own slave labour camps, we're not worried about them. What we're worried about is the most pro-British...
People do protest.
Well, no, they don't. There was almost
do.
nothing. If you show me some footage of a Robert Mugabe protest when he came to London, I'd be hugely impressed.
So as long as
you don't have it.
You're not allowed to protest against anyone unless you protest against everyone.
No, you're allowed to protest, but what you should do is surely get a sense of proportion about the scale of protests that we plan for various world leaders. I do not understand why, when we've just had President Erdogan of Turkey, who many people think is one of the most dangerous dictators in the world right now, and we've had the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who is committing war crimes in Yemen.
No protest against
why are we getting... Let me ask you this, Ash. Why are we having much bigger protests against Donald Trump, leader of the United States of America, our ally, than were ever planned for Erdogan or for the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia?
So lots of the organisers for Stop Trump coalition have been heavily involved in protests against the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia.
But where were those protests? Hardly anybody turned up.
I think the reason why the protests against Trump are so much bigger is precisely because America is supposed to be our greatest ally.
Do you think he's worse than Erdogan and the Crown Prince of Saudi in terms of human rights abuses, in terms of the way he treats his people, for example?
What I'm saying is that the purpose of this protest isn't just about his own domestic policy platform, which I think is terrible.
Right.
I think just because that there are more egregious abuses of human rights elsewhere does not...
Why is your focus of your effort to stop Trump and not worse people.
Oh, this is what I was explaining, right? Is that when someone is supposed to be our greatest ally, it does mean that we should hold them to greater standards of accountability because it's not just about...
I don't buy that argument.
But
hang on. But what are we stopping?
Hold everybody to the same standard of accountability.
What are we stopping Trump doing? Trump is here to effectively beg us for a free trade deal post-Brexit that is going to benefit the United Kingdom and benefit the United States of America. You don't want him here. That means presumably you don't want to push forward that economic regeneration that Britain will need. And that makes it absolutely mad. You are cutting off your nose to spite your face.
He has not been a reliable ally in trade.
Oh, he's totally reliable on this. He's been to Europe to tell them that they are taking the mick by not paying their fair share in terms of the NATO spending.
Which is not what it means.
He's not been critical of the United Kingdom.
Which is not what it means to be a reliable ally. When you're
Andre, sorry to interrupt. You just asked Ash a question and haven't allowed her to answer.
I'm happy for her to do it.
OK, so he's not actually been a reliable ally when it comes to trade. When you look at Bombardier, it was his reckless policy of trade tariffs which put British jobs in danger. Furthermore, when it comes to his criticisms of NATO, that is a real risk to that particular defence strategy.
He will not open.
What I'm saying is that he has not been a consistent or a reliable friend to the UK. And most of the British people, 67% in fact, think he's doing a terrible job as president.
Ash, do you know how many illegal immigrants Barack Obama deported in 8 years?
And lots of people I know, both in the States and
do you know the number?
Protested. It was a huge amount of number.
Do you know how many?
Would you like to tell me, Piers?
No, I'm asking you.
It was...
You know every stat about Trump, but do you know actually how many illegal immigrants Barack Obama deported in his 8 years as president?
There was a huge expansion of immigration, detention and removal under Obama.
Have a guess.
I don't know the number, Piers. Would you like to tell me?
Give me a number.
I don't know it.
Any number.
Piers, I don't know it.
1? 10? Give me a number.
I told you it was probably in its thousands. It was a huge expansion.
How many thousands do you think? I'm serious. It's a serious question.
I know, but she's already said she's asked you to tell you the answer.
Have a guess.
Why? What's the value of making stuff up on air? I know that you're comfortable with
you go on and on about Trump, but here's my point to you.
Relationship to the truth.
You are running a Stop Trump campaign, but you have absolutely no idea how many illegal immigrants, which is a very sensitive area with Trump as well, how many illegal immigrants Obama deported in 8 years.
Because what we do know is that
Give me any number.
I'm not here as a defender of Obama or Clinton or any Democrat.
There's a reason I'm
here as a critic of Trump.
There's a reason I get it.
What we do know is that less
somebody who
than
tries
half
to be
of
fair about
undefined...
Trump, can you give me any number for the number of illegal immigrants that Obama deported? Do you have any idea at all?
What we do know is that less than half of the undefined who've been separated from their families at the border, which Obama did not do, will be reunited with their families.
Do you think it's 10,000, 20,000? What do you think?
Listen, I told you I don't know. What more do you want from me,
Do you think it's thousands? What do you think?
Piers, why don't you just say how many? I know how many.
Because I'm really curious why somebody so politically activated...
But this isn't a test of Obama.
Well, actually, you know what? It is, and I'll come to why it's a test in a moment. Do you know?
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
She said no, she doesn't know.
The answer, do you think it's thousands? Ash?
Piers, this is about President Trump.
I'm just asking a question.
No, but she's already said she doesn't know.
I'm really fascinated that nobody either knows or cares that Barack Obama smashed all records.
I told you it was a huge expansion.
Do you know how many it is,
I admitted that already, and I said I'm not an Obama supporter.
But you have no idea how many it is, do you? It's a publicly stated figure. It's over 3 million illegal immigrants. Do you know how many bombs Obama dropped in his last year?
It was a huge expansion of the drone program, and that's why so many people,
Ash, do you know how many bombs?
Trump coalition, have been critical of Obama's foreign policy. But we're here to talk about Trump.
But you're here to talk about Stop Trump.
It's interesting that you're giving me a harder time than you are
I'm asking you why you weren't trying to stop Obama deporting 3 million people.
How do you know Ash might not have opposed Obama's policy?
You don't have the numbers. You've no idea what was going on.
Because he's no longer in office, so now this is about
and that's precisely right, isn't it? Look, Barack Obama...
My point is there were no protests for Barack Obama, yet he broke all the records for deporting illegal immigrants, splitting up loads of families. He smashed all records for the most bombs dropped in 1 year.
I'm really glad that you're friends with the anti-war movement and you're friends with immigrants' rights, Piers.
No, it's not about that. It's not about that. It's about the hypocrisy charge. Why were there no protests ever for Saint Barack Obama?
There were anti-war protests, and I was a part of them. I've also been a part of immigrants' rights movements both in Europe and in the UK, regardless of who's...
You haven't got a Scooby about Obama. You don't know any of the numbers.
I didn't know one...
And here's my point. Let's bring you back in on this.
Oh my God! Every
support-
time I come on this show, it just seems to be an opportunity for you to have
It
a
seems
pop
to be an
rather than
opportunity for me
letting
to
it
ask you
happen.
simple questions to which
No.
you haven't got a clue.
But Piers,
And this is
you
my point about
yourself
the
have protested President Trump's immigration
Many
policy.
times.
You do
Many
not
times.
support the splitting up of families.
No, I do not.
on
But
the
I do
border.
support. I
So
do.
how
How
the
do you
children
propose-
are
how
left
do
on
you
their
propose
own
that
without
would
their
Trump
parents.
to
I
account?
do support Trump cracking down on illegal immigration on the southern border. It's a massive problem. 800,000 to 900,000 people a year come over that border, right? I do support him. I do not support the policy of separating.
what about the 2,000 children
But I
who've
do
been
think when you
separated
talk
from their
about
families?
Trump in this incredibly relentless, hostile, negative way, you have to know what Obama did too. Because Obama was not
no
the saint
longer
that
president.
you anti-Trumpers
Is
say
no
he was.
longer
And you
president.
didn't have a clue about any of those numbers.
Piers, there is no
And that
test.
annoys me. It's
There
like,
is
come
no
on.
test or threshold for what people should be allowed to protest about. Ash has every entitlement to protest
Sure.
Trump's immigration
just
policy.
know your history.
She doesn't need to go through
Know
an
your recent
exam
history.
before she goes out on a
And
protest.
it's not an exam. It's about knowing the facts about what the last president did, so you can actually put what Trump does into proper context.
And I have put it in context
And
because
isn't it interesting?
I have been a fierce critic of the detention of families, which Obama expanded, and I was against that.
But isn't-
what Trump did that Obama did not do.
When he came
was
to
use
London,
the
he was welcomed like a
separation-
conquering
but
hero.
was to use the separation of children as a means to discourage people.
But I
from
agree with
making
you about
border
that.
But isn't
crossings.
isn't this
And
interesting?
that's the point.
The last major protest was when George W. Bush was president. Actually, this is a group of professional leftists who just like to agitate and enjoy going out on the protest. That's why they're not
A group of
interested.
professional protesters, that's like 10
that's why
at the time, mate.
that's why they're not interested. George W. Bush had a huge protest. Donald Trump is getting a huge protest. If a Democrat wins the White House next time, whatever he does, nobody will give
You
him a
agree?
that
You
is
agree?
You have
true.
every,
That
you
is
have
not
every
true.
right to go and protest the Democratic
Every
president.
right. They've got every
one's
right.
going to stop
They've
you
got every
doing
right.
that.
But Susanna, my point is, where were they when far worse people came into this city?
We hold our
Why are
friends
we-
and allies
Why
to
do
a
we hold our
different
friends
standard.
and why do we hold them to different
Because
standards?
it's a
Because it's utter
democracy.
hypocrisy.
But these are people who do not
Hold
like the West
everybody
Wing.
to the same standard.
They don't like the West
You
Wing.
either
They
have
don't believe in
values as
free
a
trade.
country and you
They
hold
don't-
them, or you don't.
Piers, they don't
You
believe in
pick
free
and
trade
choose.
capitalism. They don't believe in the Western Alliance. A lot of them, the older ones, wish the Soviet Union had won the Cold War. These people are not on the side of the country in which they reside, and that's why they hate our biggest ally.
Ash, where will you be marching in the next 2 days?
I'll be marching in Westminster tomorrow alongside thousands of other people who found the policy of border separations unconscionable,
Yep.
who think that the sight of our elected Prime Minister holding Donald Trump's hand is an utter embarrassment.
Did you find Obama
and
deporting
wish
3
to-
million people unconscionable? You
Yes.
split up many families.
Yes, I did,
Where
and
was-
that's why. I
Where
also
was your protest
and
march
that's why-
against that
and-
when he came to the
and
country?
that's why I also
But if you feel so
protest-
strongly
and that's
about
why
it,
I
Ash,
also protest
where was your
detention and
protest march
deportation
against Obama?
in this country
If you found
as
that
well.
unconscionable too,
You do
where was
not
the
have
march?
to go out and march
double
against
standards.
everything in order to make a point about one thing.
No, if you find them both unconscionable and it's the same
It's just
issue,
wrong.
you have to march twice, don't you?
I would actually encourage you to maybe check out some of the other work that I've done where I've been intensely...
Tell you what I do,
critical.
Ash. I go and check out some basic facts about your hero, Obama.
He's
and
not
then
my
see
hero. I'm
how
a
heroic he
communist,
comes
you
across. You didn't plan any protests against him, did you?
Ash,
Zero protests against Obama.
Jesus.
you have every right to protest.
Thanks,
Every right to
Susanna.
protest. Just get it in perspective. There were none against Obama. There were none against Vladimir
Have you
Putin.
ever-
Why didn't
Made
you
it
go out
possible.
and march against Obama
Share
then
a
if you're
debate
so
without
keen
manning
to
your
protest
guests
against
to
him?
make up for your own incompetence as a journalist?
Sorry.
You didn't hold Trump adequately to account when you interviewed
Yes,
him.
I did.
You didn't think that climate change was important enough to bring up.
I
You
held
thought
Trump
you'd ask him
very
to
well
manage
to
your
account
favourite
on a
football
number of
team.
issues.
It's embarrassing.
Well, it may be
and
embarrassing.
instead what you've done,
May be
instead what
embarrassing
you've
to you, Ash,
done
but actually,
is strawman your guest,
what I
put
try and
words
be,
in my mouth,
what I try and be
and
with,
you've deflected
Yes,
from the
thank you.
actual
What I
argument
try
at
and do,
hand.
what I try and do is be fair about Trump. What you do
And to no one
is
else.
be relentlessly anti-Trump and relentlessly pro somebody like Obama.
I'm not
and afraid
pro-Obama. I've
that
been a
just doesn't
critic of
wash with
Obama.
me.
I'm a critic of the
It
Democratic
doesn't
Party
wash.
because I'm literally a communist.
I'm literally a communist. On that bombshell, we have to leave it. Thank you both very much indeed.